let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
This is Radical Truth to Power. I am Marlon Clyburn. But as you can see, I don't have the flair. I don't have the background that I normally have. I'm back to the normal background thing. And I don't know nobody's going to watch this until tomorrow. And that's fine. I was expecting as much. But I had to come on. I had to jump on for a second and give my thoughts on yet another massacre, another shooting, another school shooting, 15 kids who are not coming home tonight, 15 kids who are not going to grow up, 15 families suffering tonight for a senseless shooting. So for anybody who don't know what I'm talking about, let's show you what's going on.
And that breaking news, another mass shooting in the United States, this time at an elementary school in a small Texas town. 14 children are dead along with their teacher. Students seen running out of classrooms when the gunfire broke out. This school massacre happening in Uvalde, Texas. It's a small town of less than 20,000 people. It's about 80 miles west of San Antonio. Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand is live in the newsroom with more on this breaking story. Jory.
Ellen, Colleen, this is another dark day for this nation. We are awaiting a press conference from authorities in Texas that could happen at any minute. But this happened in the small town of Uvalde, Texas. If you haven't heard that name before, it sadly will now be known the same way we now know the city Sandy Hook. An 18-year-old high school student from Uvalde entered Robb Elementary today with a handgun and possibly a rifle as well, and shot and killed those 14 students. This school was second to fourth graders, so we're talking 6 to 10-year-old kids. The gunman also shot and killed a teacher, and the governor of Texas reporting that 2 law enforcement officers were also shot, though they survived. The shooter also apparently shot and killed his grandmother before heading to the school and carrying out this rampage. The shooter himself was shot and killed. We are still awaiting word whether it was law enforcement that did it or whether the shooter killed himself, but we are told that members of Customs and Border Patrol's elite tactical unit happened to be in the area. They raced to the school and responded to help. One of those officers was one of the 2 officers to be shot. But again, 14 students dead as well as a teacher.
When parents drop their kids off at school, they have every expectation to know that they're going to be able to pick their child up when that school day ends. And there are families who are in mourning right now, and the state of Texas is in mourning with them for the reality that these parents are not going to be able to pick up their children.
It was just under 10 years ago that a similar shooting took place at Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut. 20 students were killed in that attack, along with 6 teachers. And in another striking similarity, the shooter in that case shot and killed his mother before carrying out the attack. There were calls for gun control after that shooting. There was a bipartisan effort in Congress to come up with legislation, but in the end, Republicans shot down those efforts, and little to nothing has been done to address this problem in the decades since. There were 60 active shooters at schools in the United States last year alone. Right now, there are families in Texas still holding out hope that the child they cannot locate is simply somewhere else but still alive. There was a reunification center, but for more than a dozen families tonight, their child will not be coming home. We heard one father looking for his 10-year-old daughter, McKenna, ask one of our ABC News reporters where the funeral home was in town because they couldn't find her anywhere else. Authorities are waiting until all families have been notified before releasing details about the victims' names and ages again. We are awaiting that press conference to learn more.
So we're back to this again. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is about the most sickening, cold-hearted individual, bar none. He's up there at the very least. I can say that he's up there because he's doing this little sympathy thing. And everybody who knows me, you know what the thoughts and prayers BS is going to be. My thoughts and prayers is, but you also know what's going to come next. And I try to tell people what to look out for. So this is what you need to look out for. You're going to look out for my thoughts and prayers, but the left is trying to take our guns. My condolences to the families, but this could have been any random act. Well, what was his mindset? Was he mentally ill? Well, that was a little boy. I literally listened to one person who they said, well, we need to really put some forces behind mental illness because these children going out there. And the lady broke in during the interview and went, well, he's 18, so he's a man. And I so wanted to reach through the screen and go, who gives a fuck? Who gives a damn? Is the kids going to come back alive now because you identified them between a man and a child? Is that what you're saying? Is anything significantly better is going to happen because you identified the age discrimination? What was your point? Something mentally could have been possibly wrong with this kid. But that's not even the gist of it. Because you was able, Greg Abbott, to put guns in the hands of people who had a mental illness quite easily. And in case y'all don't understand what I'm saying, I got a video of that as well.
Abbott last September made it legal for everybody to carry a gun. I mean, let's invite some more ants to the picnic.
When she talks about, folks who have guns who shouldn't have guns, let me just make this clear. This permitless carry bill that police officers and sheriff's deputies begged Greg Abbott not to sign because it would make their job that much more dangerous. He turned his back on them and signed it anyhow. And he signed it despite being told that over the last 5 years, 35,000 of our fellow Texans who applied for a license to carry and went through the background check were rejected because they have a violent criminal past, because they've beaten a spouse, because they are going to harm themselves or someone else in their life. And law enforcement stepped in and said, that person should not be carrying a loaded gun in public. Well, now all 35,000 of them are free to do so, as are the tens of thousands who knew better than to ever apply for a license to carry because they wouldn't have passed the background check. They are free to carry a gun now on our streets, and they are carrying guns on our streets. More cops are gunned down in the state of Texas than any other state, bar none. We have seen a predictable spike in gun violence in this state. More women are shot by their intimate partners in this state than almost any other state, because we make it so easy for those who are violent against those that they live with and work with to have these guns right now.
So Greg Abbott signed a bill that you don't have to get a permit for it. I don't know no better way of saying this other than, yeah, it's the equivalent of going to Walmart and just saying, hey, I want to buy this gun. Sure, here you go. No background check. 35,000 people who was denied that permit now have the ability to go get a gun. Legally or illegally, which I'm saying buy it or don't buy it. Was that guy part of the 35,000 that was turned down? Was that guy part of the hundreds of thousands who didn't even try to get a permit because they knew they wasn't going to get it? Doesn't really matter. Greg Abbott made it easy for these people to go get a handgun, mentally stable or not, and do whatever. And I can't make it no more simpler than that. And I know I don't want to make it hyperbole to say it's just that simple, but try to make it complicated. I'll wait. I'll wait till you try to explain to me, and I want you to try to explain to the 15 families whose child is not coming home tonight that this is a little more complicated than what you think. And tomorrow morning, starting tomorrow morning, if it hasn't even started tonight, we'll hear the whole thoughts and prayers thing going on. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family, but the left is trying to take our guns. Oh, so what you're saying is your right to bear arms is more important than human life. No, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, that is kind of what you're saying, because that's the very first statement that you went to, that every time there's a shooting, they're after our guns. Every time there's a massacre, they're after our guns. Every time there's children being killed in school, they're after our guns. Every time somebody can go into a grocery store, shoot up a grocery store, they're after our guns. The Sandy Hook thing that guy was talking about, we had a guy that was arguing that it was fake. He couldn't believe that he found out it was fake. It is so fake. There's nothing about it. All of them are actors. Try it on this one now. Try it. Go ahead. Tell them that tell these families whose children are not coming back, because you're in the state of Texas. I know they're crazy. I guarantee you they're nuts. Guarantee you. Go ahead and go to Texas and tell those 15 families that their children were fake and they was actors and that none of this was really happening. Then you try to explain to me what the hell was Greg Abbott talking about then? Because Greg Abbott found out the information too. So Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is lying about it too. I can't wait to find out the gaslighting that's going to happen tomorrow, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is going to happen. They can't help themselves. They can't help it. And it isn't the fact that they're cold-blooded individuals that said it. It's for the fact that they don't want to feel bad. So they always have to find a way to pass the buck. Yeah, it was a tragedy that happened at that school, but please understand that this is now more political because they're trying to come after our guns. Every time there's a shoot, and that lies my funny thing that I heard. Every time there's a school shooting, every time there's a shooting, they always try to talk about gun control. They always try to talk about taking our guns. Do you ever stop for 1 minute to think to yourself that you constantly keep saying every time there is? Do you know how many times you would have to say that for it to be relevant? And it is relevant. But you're downplaying it by saying every time there is. You're treating school shootings like somebody that's just jaywalking. That it's not just that big of a deal. Where are the pro-life people at right now? Where are the pro-life people right now protesting? Because these were kids that were killed. Isn't that your thing? You don't want children to die? Isn't that not your argument? Where's the protest? And I didn't come up with that. Somebody came up with a brilliant idea. It was a smart idea to say it. Where's the protest for your pro-life people about these children that you so humbly and want to raise and be Americans and raise them to be the American way and everything? Where are they now? Where are the pro-life people now? Let's see what the next protest is. I can wait. I'm going to wait till this weekend. I'm not going to jump any conclusion. I'm not going to bring it up on my website or anything else. I'm just going to wait to see how many pro-life protesters are going to go and march and say something has to be done because our kids are being killed. Those same pro-life people that protest about abortion right now. All those senators and congressmen that's throwing these doctors under the bus about all this little BS crap that you come up with. I want y'all to talk about with that same reverence, with that same argument, with that same gusto. I want you to have that same argument now. When you could go in, when somebody could go into a school with a free gun and slaughter 15 kids. I want you to have that same energy at that same level. After you get finished with your little fake thoughts and prayers thing, I want you to have at that same level that laws need to be put in place so our children will be safe again. Because you're great at having that same energy for them to be born, but once they're born, now they're on their own. Facts. We did nothing for Hook Elementary. No, we did jack. We sit there and listen to a moron and sit there talking about it was damn fake. It's fake. All of it was fake. There was nothing but it was being fake. Go to Texas and say that to 15 other kids, 15 families. See if you come out safely. And like I said, and I've always said this for the longest time, and I'll constantly keep saying it. I don't condone violence on any way, shape, or form because it's not part of me to do it. I don't condone it, but I do understand it. I can understand that hatred. And him and people like him that thinks everything is fictitious every time it goes against them. Because you are so going out of your way to hold on to your little pew-pew gun so you can feel like a man. So you can own the libs. So you can do any and everything you possibly can other than try to help human existence. And when it comes to the abortion laws, you will go out of your way to make sure that those people hear you. You will make sure you go out of your way to put laws in effect. You make Texas being one of them, Texas being one of the biggest ones, to make sure they go out of the way that no matter hook or crook, that you are going to have that baby. I'm going to tell you, ladies, what you can do with your body, whether you like it or not. But I guarantee you, as soon as you have that child, they will throw you into the wind. And now it's all up to you to raise that child, because I don't want my taxpayer dollars spent on SNAP programs. I don't want taxpayer dollars spent on free lunches. I don't want my taxpayer dollars being spent on affordable housing. I don't want my taxpayer dollars. My God, don't you dare try to have free community college. But you can go shoot up a school, though. Normally, you, with the law that says you are capable and able to go anywhere and get a gun regardless of your mental capacity. Regardless. They don't care. They could care less. Hey, if you got the money to get it, you can get it. I'm not trying to be rude. Somebody on Facebook said something and I can't see who said something. But excuse me, hate to be rude when I do this. Oh, that's my sister-in-law. But yeah, never about the kids, only about control when it comes to pro. Like, of course it is. It's pure control. It will be nothing but me trying to tell you, and it's been like that since day one. Since day one, we've had men try to tell women what they can and can't do with their body. We had men for the longest time can get away with sexual abuse and anything they want because boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Hey, I know you said you were sexually assaulted, but what was you wearing, ladies? Why was you on that side of town? Why was you walking that late at night? What did you say to the guy that turned him on? This is basically another form of control. But you're doing it for the kids. But you're doing it for the kids, right? So when people can go into a school and shoot up a school, you're quiet now. You don't have that same energy because you know what you have to do and you don't do it because it contradicts exactly what it is you're trying to do. Because I understand what you're saying, D, and I totally agree with you that it's purely control. But you said it was pro-life. So if somebody can run into a school with a gun and or a rifle, like I give a rat's ass which one it is, and they can shoot up a school, kill 15 kids and a teacher, messing up 16 families' lives. I want to see what a protest is because then you have to protest that we need more gun control, and your ass ain't gonna do that because that wasn't how this all started. It's not how it all started. It's about controlling other people, and when you lose control, what's the first thing you do? You have to blame. You have to kick down. You have to other somebody else. So that's why when you say, my thoughts and prayers, but it's always followed with, but the left did. I can hear Tucker Carlson right now. The first, and this is a tragedy and everything else. And what do the left do? They start talking about, and he never tells you who said what, because that's not what this is all about. You ain't got to prove nothing. You just have to say it. And their fans eat it up. They need to start locking the doors of the school. You can get out, but you can't get in. Not Tracy, Tanya, that is the equivalent of a lean on me that's exactly what Clark did, locking the door, and they thought it was a fire hazard. That's all they do. They don't want they don't want these incidents to happen. Now, and I'll make that perfectly clear. They do not want these incidents to happen. But they're not going to prevent it from happening. Let me say that again, because I don't want nobody coming back going, oh, Marlon said. No, I'm going to tell you what Marlon said. They do not want these incidents, these shootings, the grocery store shootings, these school shootings. They do not want it to happen. But they're also hoping that it doesn't happen because they're not going to do anything to prevent it from happening. That's not what they're looking for. They want the ability to go after the 10 and 15% of the country, their rabid followers, to believe that this is the wild, wild west and we're doing everything to uphold the Constitution as they seem to feel that it is, to do what they think is best for them. The hell with the other 90% of the country. 90% of the country ain't making them rich. So the hell with the other 90% of the country. They need a 10%. They need a 10, 15% of them rapid fans. So they're going to do what they need to do to make them happy. So damn that your child may not come home tonight. It was, what did that pastor say Sunday show? Yeah, what did that pastor say the Sunday show? It's an isolated incident. Those people who died in that grocery store was the equivalent of being hit by a bolt of lightning. Okay? That's what they want you to think. They want you to feel that these things are so far apart from each other. That this is just isolated. Changing the law. Why would we change the laws? It's a once in a blue moon situation. So why change it? They love control like I know, Tracy, this country makes me sick. I know. And situations like this really doesn't make it any better at all. Greg Abbott said, when you drop your child off at the school, you expect to go and pick them up. And now these families will not be able to pick up their children because of this senseless incident or something to that effect. I really ain't got to get all the words together because this is the equivalent of, like I said, thoughts and prayers. Now, I feel bad that you died. I apologize to those little kids, and I apologize to the family. And yes, Texas mourned for what happened, but I ain't changing a damn thing. That's why you talk about somebody who makes me sick. That is a sick dude. That is a dude that's somebody who's a serial killer who feels bad about his victims. No, I'm not saying Greg Abbott is a real serial killer. I'm just using that for example because I don't want no asshole going, oh my God, oh that's you can't say that about him. That's wrong. No, I was using it for an example. So please use the whole video. Thank you. But it is the equivalent of a serial killer who feels bad about the victims, but don't stop because he has fame and people knows his name, the little cute little, the Mississippi killer, the Zodiac killer and everything. He has the fame of it. So although he feels bad for what he did, he's not going to stop. This is no different. I feel bad that these kids are not going back to their families. All 15 of them. But I'm not going to change the law. No. That means that I was wrong, and I'm not wrong. I'm never wrong. Doesn't matter if we protest, there won't be gun laws. Yeah, I already said it. Yes. Nothing's going to change from this. Nothing is going to change from this until the next incident or the next incident or the next incident. I can't even remember what the guy who I was watching. But they had a guy on that was talking about it, and his main point was that we need to have more resources into mental health to try to get in front of these people so they won't pick up a weapon and go kill people and everything else. And I was like, if that's not the most defeatist analogy you done came up on, but how wrong is he? Because he really did start off with, well, we're not going to do anything about the guns. So we might as well get ahead with the mental illness and get ahead of these people and try to stop them before they go pick up a gun and start killing people. I did say, wow, that's a defeatist attitude. It's like, that's the equivalent of saying it is what it is, you know? But then again, maybe I'm being optimistic about something that's just not optimistic. It's not going to happen. They are going to do what they're going to do. I mean, they are going to do what they're going to do. It is what it is. Boys will be boys. But nothing's going to change. Thoughts and prayers, time lapse, another shooting, or whatever kind, it really doesn't matter. School, grocery store, stadium, in the middle of the highway, middle of a neighborhood, doesn't matter. All it is the same thing. Shootings, thoughts and prayers, nothing changes. Wait till the next event. Lather, rinse, repeat. We need to stop supporting liberals. It's a waste of time. Liberals need to be kicked out of office, reformer and progressive only. Yeah, now what I need you to do is try to find me a whole bunch of former reformers and progressives. And don't get me wrong, the liberals suck rocks too. But at the very least, I'm sitting there saying the liberals suck rocks because all they're doing is towing the line. And I would love to have reformers and progressive, but we just don't have enough. And I'm definitely not going to sit here and put this country in the hands of a bunch of Republicans who quite honestly could care less whether their constituents or their non-constituents live or die. They are gashing to get into office so they can put the most heinous laws that they can possibly put together to not only make your life miserable, but to make sure that you cannot vote them out of office in any kind of way, shape, or form. And do not get what I'm saying twisted as if I'm taking up for the liberals. Yeah, they suck rock because they're the quietest little wussies I've ever seen in my life. I mean, they're real quiet. Thanks for having our back like we had yours. But this really does fall into the category of the lessons of the two evils. And we need to come up with a plan Look, we've been saying this for a while. I've been saying it for a while. Thea's been saying it for a while. We can't sit there and go, we need to stop voting for these liberals. Okay, cool. What's the next thing? And I never get an answer. Never get an answer. I just want what comes afterwards. I just want to know, what do we do after we stop putting liberals in office and the Republicans take over? What's the next step? I just need to know. But anywho, I wasn't going to stay on this long, and I'm not going to stay on here long because after a certain point, it'll be no more than me repeating the same stuff over and over again, and it's not worth it. It really isn't. I just wanted to come on and just give my thoughts on this situation because, just like everything else is fresh in everybody's mind. And of course, I got to make sure whatever is fresh in everybody's mind before something else happens, and then we move on to the next crisis, like what Americans do. So please hit that like button on the way out the door. If you like this kind of content, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. I would truly appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you. Peace.